Hi, friend. Welcome in. Today, we're going to talk about how we're going to transform your career to adding more income to your salary and how to do all of that without networking. So, you landing a new job, making more money without having to cold message people, cold DM, cold email, whatever that is. You're not going to be doing any of that. How are we going to do that and make you a magnetic candidate? That's what we're going to talk about today. So if you haven't seen me before or you don't know who the heck I am, my name is Joycie, or on all the socials, I'm also known as Coach Joycie, and I am a career transition expert. And I say this because not only have I helped over 80 clients transition their career successfully, but I've also changed my own career 7 times in the last 10 years. And each time I got even better into finding work that I love to do, and I made more money every single time. So that's always what we want to do. I want to tell you a little bit about my career journey before we get into all the juicy things. So, I first started off in beauty school. Right out of high school, I was like, I want to do something different. I want to go to beauty school. And I went in and I ended up hating it. It was something that I wanted to do. I did like the theory about it and I love that aspect of it. But when it actually came down to, touching people's feet and waxing like people and seeing gross things, I just wasn't into it. So after that, I decided to take a gap year and I decided to become a server. So I became a server and I loved it. It kind of made me who I am today in terms of like extrovertedness and talking to people every day. And after that, I quickly moved up to become a supervisor there, which was really crazy because I was like 20 years old and I was a supervisor and nobody respected me. It was like the weirdest time. But other than that, after that, I was like, okay, I gotta go back to school. Went back to school, and I went to school basically for ultrasound. So I started my beginning years. I went to the college here. Again, figured out I didn't really like it. I had a really shitty professor, and it just didn't feel right for me. So I changed again. I became an executive assistant, and it was a remote company, and I was like one of the first like 5 employees. So it was a very, very big learning curve. And through that, I was like, okay, maybe I can start my own thing. So I opened up a business. I got a brick and mortar restaurant. I wanted to sell online courses on how to thrift. I was doing everything and everything. And then I ended up selling cell phones just randomly. And I was thinking there's way more to life than this. Like, it's not just about me like job hopping and trying to figure something out. I need to figure some, like, I really need to think about it. So I ended up getting a job. My last job, which I really, really loved, was I was a recruiter. I was an in-house recruiter, and it was honestly just amazing. I had a women-owned company. It was in tech. I was getting paid like 20K more than I've ever been paid in my life. I felt like I was a ballin'. Like life was just good. We went on company resorts and retreats and everything. And now I do what I love, and now I teach you guys how to do the exact same thing. So for me, it's all just about how you're going to showcase your value, right? So coming from someone who has a very strange background, right? And you might relate to this too, that you have maybe like a myriad of things that you've done, right? You've gotten jobs just because you've gotten them because you maybe have a really good personality, or you're just really magnetic like that, but you don't really know where you want to go, or you don't really have like a clear path to that. So first step into anything is to first get really clear as to where you want to go. So I always tell all my clients have two moves. First one is going to be a lateral move, which is a move that is similar to what you're doing right now. Okay, so if you're going to change your careers, think about where you're at right now. So, for example, when I was executive assistant, I would go into something similar to that, right? So, maybe office management, another executive assistant role, an admin assistant role, things like that that are within that myriad of things. Then I thought about a alternative move. So I tell my clients this as well. An alternative move is something that is like it's almost like you're specializing or niching down into the role that you have right now. So in my example, as an executive assistant, I was thinking about things that I like to do, or I kind of actually broke down what the role was itself. Okay. So if you were to break it down, what did I do as an executive assistant? Well, I was a personal assistant. I was doing some of the business development. I was doing some of the recruiting and hiring. I was doing like operational things, organization. And I thought about, out of all those things, what did I like the most? Well, I loved recruiting. It really lit me up. So I ended up choosing that. So my alternate move would have been recruiting. So for you, it might be a little bit different. And don't worry if you don't know like what your alternate mover is and anything. I have a freebie on my website that I'm going to link in the show notes below, that kind of goes over, breaks down, like I have like 300 of them on there. So it's goes through certain roles, and it kind of breaks it down as to, okay, if you have this role, what can you move into, and what's a good alternate move for you. once you have clarity as to where you're going to go, right? You're like, okay, now I have a direction. Now I have my two options, my lateral move and my alternate move. Now what? The next thing you have to do is you have to create value. Okay. You have to show your employer or your future employer that you're valuable. So, how do you do that? You become an authentic authority. And this is something that I've coined, and that's in my career clarity program. And I talk about this all the time, but becoming an authentic authority means that you are taking your unique story, okay? So your myriad of things you've done before, who you are as a person, your quirks and your weirdness and everything, and making that into a very magnetic personal brand. And you do that by owning your story instead of shaving away from it. You know, some of us are just like, oh, I've done so many things. It's just so I don't want to put things on my resume. I want to dumb myself down. And it's just about owning who you are as a person and becoming an authentic authority. So, within that sense, you're showcasing your value because you're showcasing your different perspectives on things instead of it being that, instead of framing it in a way that, like, oh, I changed my job and did this and this and this. No, you've actually done a lot of different things. And because you've done a lot of different things, you have a different perspective that not a lot of candidates have. So, it's all about taking who you are as a person and things that you've done and just owning it. And that's the easiest way that I can say this. It's just about owning who you are as a person. When you're able to actually step into your greatness, you as a person become so, so magnetic because no one can take that away from you, right? Nobody can take away your story, right? I've changed careers 7 times last 10 years. Nobody can take that away from me. That is my story, right? Maybe they have some qualifications, maybe they have the schooling, maybe they have all these things and did all these things, but they cannot take my story away from me. Same thing with you, right? Your story is unique to you. That is what's going to get you in the door, right? It's all about human connection. So how can you make yourself more valuable by just, again, owning that story, owning who you are as a person? I can't say it more. So that's the first part of the puzzle, right? Figuring out what your story is and really crafting it and being able to constantly recite it and really talk yourself up, right? Talk about your achievements and really just own that, right? That's the first step. Second step is, how are you going to showcase that? Well, you do that in your applications, you do that in your resumes, you do that in your cover letters, in your interviews, and how do you show up as a person? So if you think about showing up as the best version of you, what does that look like? Okay. Does it look like that you're cowering away and you're not going to be talking about your achievements or anything? Does it look like that you are dumbing yourself down? No, right? It looks like you are actually going to talk about your achievements. So when you're talking about yourself in, let's say, an interview or on your resume or anything, you want to talk about the impact that you've made, the results that you have made, and the things that you've done, right? So things like spearheading the entire end-to-end recruitment process, which resulted in 80 new hires within 3 months, and using things like statistics, like percentages, amounts, dollars, revenue, all that stuff, using numbers to showcase the impact that you've made. So, realistically, when you're talking about yourself, either in anything that you put out, anything that is going to brand you. So, again, your resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, all that stuff. When you're doing that, you need to make sure that when you are putting in your bullet points and everything, you're talking about the results that you've made, not just what you've done, right? Because anyone could say, yeah, like I cleaned the floors or whatever, right? Anyone could say that, but you want to talk about the impact that you made, right? And the things that you've done, and you need to make it sound really fancy and shiny, right? So if we're gonna take the floor example, right? So you can say, and I'm just talking out of my ass here, but you can say that you achieved a 95% cleanliness level and set the company standards and created operational efficiency by 30% or something like that, right? Or I know that doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean, right? So you want to use statistics and you want to make it sound way fancier than it is. That's all you really need to do. So you can always use ChatGPT for this. You can Google it. And I talk all about this in my career clarity course, and I kind of break it down step by step by step for you. So don't worry about it if you don't know what this means yet. It's kind of just the tip of the iceberg, right? So again, the biggest thing you want to do, results driven, be impact driven. That's going to showcase your value. And when you talk about yourself in your interviews and you show up as that person, right? And you're constantly talking about your achievements and the things that you've done, all I want you to understand that all employers or hiring managers or whatever want, they want to know what their ROI is. If you don't know what ROI is, that's their return on investment. Okay. So if they see the value in you, their return on investment is really, really good. Yeah. Maybe they pay you 80K a year, but you give them, you gave them like 6 figures worth of value. You are worth at that time, right? So you want to make sure that when you are talking about yourself, you are showcasing your value by talking about the impact and the results that you've made. Talk about the big numbers, talk about the things that you've done, the projects you've led, the people that you've helped. That is what's going to position you as an expert. And on top of that, you owning that story and owning yourself and being just like a regular, authentic human, that in combination of you just talking about the results is what's going to get you to where you want to be. So that's a little bit about the strategy as to how you're going to present yourself. But one thing I need to note, you to note, and you to know that mindset is everything. And I know that people are like, oh, yeah, my mindset's fine. I journal, I do all these things. But realistically, your mindset is everything. How you feel and how much you believe in yourself is what's going to set you apart. That's what's going to get you the job, right? I am someone that is very delusional, okay, almost to a fault, but that's kind of why where I'm at right now. It's just about believing yourself so hard that even if you are getting thrown all these things, maybe you don't have the degree, right? I never had a college degree, so you don't have a degree, or maybe you have changed careers or whatnot. In order for you to own yourself and become an authentic authority, you need to believe in yourself and you need to believe in your innate ability to be able to do that job. Sometimes we look at job descriptions and we're like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if it's something that is going to be good enough for me, or I don't even know if I'm going to be good enough for that. And you think that way, right? But by becoming an authentic authority and really just being able to be proud of yourself, be proud of your work, and understanding that, yeah, you can do this. You've done hard things before. This is going to be another thing, right? Even if you're going into a new industry, a new role, that imposter syndrome that you feel, you felt it before. But guess what? You're completely fine now. You know what you're doing now. So I don't want you to discredit yourself because you have done hard things before. I just need you to look at it as a whole and understand that, okay, I got this. Instead of going to self deprecation mode, go into self belief instead. Super strong, almost delusional level self belief. And having that mindset to know that, not every place is going to be good for me. Not every place is going to be right for me. Maybe they're not on my level, instead of thinking it the other way around. And it's not to be cocky or anything, or it's not to just discredit to those companies or whatever, but it's to let yourself know that at this, even though you're searching for a job, you are looking for a perfect match, right? You're looking for something that's aligned with you. And if that means that you're getting a lot of rejections, or that means that there's not a lot of fits that are coming through, that's fine, because it just takes one. It just takes one place that is going to propel you forward. That's going to be the thing that you love. It's going to pay you more. That's going to give you all these things, like the flexibility that you want. That's going to give you that money and the value and all those things. You're going to have a really great team and everything, and you're going to love the work that you do. But you need to go through all these trials and tribulations so you become that person, and you need to believe in yourself while you are there, because at the end of the day, right, once you get that job, that's it, right? That's it. You don't have to worry anymore. That's all that it is. You just, at this point, you just need to kind of go through the journey, and you got to let it happen, because it's going to happen regardless, right? So you might as well enjoy it, right? If you're going to go in here and being stressed about it every single day, it's not going to help your situation anyways. So you might as well take some time to find some fun in it, find some enjoyment. Maybe when you're applying for jobs or you're looking for something, you're blasting music, right? Maybe you're dancing around every time you apply to something. I don't know what it is that you're going to do, but do what resonates with you, do what makes you happy, and just understand that it only takes one. And you are good enough just the way that you are. And you can land a job by being just who you are as a person. And I know this because I've done it. My clients have done it. Anyone that has worked with me has done it. It is so, so, so possible. I just need you to believe in yourself and believe that it's doable. Okay. Anyways, that's all for this video. I am so happy that you're here. I hope you got some value out of it. I know that I was all over the place, but hope it made sense. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.